What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I am super excited to get into this build with you guys. This one was really kind of unexpected. But anyway, Namoki sent me an email asking me if I wanted to choose some parts that are coming up that they haven't put out on the market yet. I was really surprised they actually started going with the VK stuff, which I'm actually really excited about. I had no idea what the case was going to look like, but they asked me what I wanted for a dial and hands, and I figured, okay, I had a black dial and an orange chronograph hand to choose from, so I figured, okay, I'll just kind of play it safe, and I'll go with my colors, black and orange, and I am so happy that I did. Take a look at this. This is gorgeous. Looks like a vintage Heuer case. Absolutely beautiful. Now I did later on off camera check the glass, and it's not sapphire. So it's some sort of mineral crystal, I'm guessing. So I'm trying to go with a Hesselite or feel, I guess. I don't know, but it's it's a really gorgeous case. It's been a little while since I've made a VK build, so I had to look back on one of my older videos. I'll leave a link up here for you, and yeah, it it helps. Definitely helped me. So what I'm going to do here is get us all set up. I had to use a different movement holder because this one doesn't fit in my other ones, but that's okay. That's why you have different tools. And foreshadowing, one of those builds where, really wish I would have thought ahead and grabbed a couple extra things. But, and they didn't send a bracelet with this one, so I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and I wasn't sure about the lug width. Lug width actually threw me off a little bit, but thankfully, I actually had something stashed away that wound up working absolutely beautifully. All right, so now we get into the fun stuff. First of all, we slap the battery in. Great place to start with the quartz movement. Pretty easy. There's a little door hatch. If it's not already up, you pull it up, put the battery in, click it down. It's got a little leg on it, and it'll latch on no problem. Now, the other part where the battery comes in the bag with a little sticker, you're wondering what the sticker's all about? It tells you what to do here. There's a little hole. There's a little AC written down there with an arrow pointed to the hole. You need to bridge the gap there from the hole, inside the hole, to the back of the battery. That's it. Basically what that does is resets the movement. It's kind of like, the little reset button you have on so many electronic devices. More or less that's what it does for you. And if you don't do that, sometimes you can have issues. That's it. Plain and simple. There's nothing really to it. You can do it with any piece of metal. All right. So next up, now that I've got this in there, uh, we're going to need a stem to work with. So I'm going to grab the stem and stick it in the tweezers like I always do with all my stems. However, VK stems are quite fragile, so you have to be careful with working with them. Yep, that happened. I was putting the crown on. I didn't do anything crazy, wasn't doing it tight, not hard, and it broke. But yeah. So, what do you do when shit goes completely sideways? You cannibalize another build and you move the hell on. Yep, that's exactly what happened. I had another VK build kicking around, so I just stole the stem out of it and yeah, made it work. So, carrying on. Gonna put this dial on and we're gonna get some hands set. And there's actually a proper way to do this. So the process is the same. Turn it over till the date flips and start with your hour hand, then your minute hand, and then that's where things change a little bit. Now the only reason I'm pausing here for half a second is you can see me cleaning. Unfortunately, there was something on these hands, the hour and minute hand, that I couldn't remove. Not with Rodico, not with my little sticky wands. I even used some alcohol and a Q-tip, and well, unfortunately, nada. But once again, the bonus of buying extra parts once in a while. From one of my last VK builds, I actually had an extra set of hands kicking around. So, pivot, here we go again. So the most important thing you can do after you get your minute and hour hand on is check your spacing tolerances. You really need to make sure you have enough room for the hour hand to float over top of the subdial hands. So if you need to, make all of your adjustments now. All right, so here's where it starts to really get fun. The first hand you're going to go with is your second hand, okay? It doesn't really matter what position it's in, as long as it's set and set properly and it's not sticking up and interfering with the hour hand, you're good. Well, and it needs to be ticking also. That always helps. Next up comes the 24-hour hand. Now this one you have to pay attention to its position. Make sure your watch has just turned over to the new date. Your hands are perfectly aligned at 12. And again, you want this marker and the 12 o'clock position. It indicates a full revolution of 24 hours in the day for you. Another thing to keep in mind with these tiny little subdial hands is they are incredibly fragile. So are the pinions that you're putting them onto. So be extremely careful. Now, if you haven't done it already, give give things a spin around. Make sure your tolerances are good, nothing's interfering, all your hands are working good. Next up comes the minute hand for the chronograph. Now, you have to do a little bit of an extra step here to make sure it's going to be in the right place. I'm just going to take it out of here and put it on a pad just so I can get at things without being interfered with. What you need to do is actually start the chronograph. Make sure it's started. I know you don't know, but push it a couple times so you know for sure it's starting. And then reset it. Start it, stop it, reset it. That way you know for sure chronograph seconds hand is going to be stopped and directly in the noon position where it should be, and so will the pinion for the minute hand or the minute tracker for the chronograph. And that's what this last subdial is. Now, once again, the chronograph seconds hand, it is imperative that you get this lined up to exactly noon o'clock. Otherwise, your chronograph is going to look kind of wonky. Once you're done, then you got to come back and, well, first of all, check your tolerances again with the chronograph seconds, but then make sure your chronograph is running. As long as everything's running properly the way it should, you're ready to move on to the next steps. And here, of course, things are slightly different than some movements. For these, you want to make sure the stem and the crown is pushed all the way in. And this is where you're going to see a little clutch pop up, and that's where you're going to push down. Comes out just like any other stem. After that, flip it over, clean everything up, and case it up. Now, with a case and movements such as this, you are going to need a little spacer here that helps the movement sit perfectly inside the case. Don't panic, it only fits on one way. Just make sure it's on properly and it's aligned properly, and you won't have any issues. Make sure it's all the way on as well. Now, with a chronograph movement, key is when putting the case on, you always come in from the pusher side of the case. That way you're not interfering with the pushers just inside on the case. Give it a good push down, flip it over, make sure everything is seated properly, and then you can move on to putting in the stem. Stem cutting and adjusting is just like any other, just be a little more gentle with these. Once we get the case back on, we finally get first look at what we have. And I am stoked. Oh, look at that peel. Whew. It is, yeah, I won't say I'm speechless, but damn, that looks so good. Now you got to make sure you take it for a quick spin. Make sure you're 100% happy with everything. Because next is tighten everything down, case back and y'all, and move on to the strap. And here we are, you guys. No point in me showing you how to put a strap on. You know how to do that. This thing is absolutely flipping gorgeous. I'm really happy I had this strap handy. It's an oddball 18 millimeter lug width on this case. So I was lucky somehow I had this. I love the look of this case. This vintage Heuer style case is sharp. Love it. I don't mean literally sharp. I mean it's just gorgeous. I was really this is a brand new strap, as you can see, real leather. You can see all the how it's stressing like that. But I was really happy with the way the brown and the black and the orange all came together. It just seemed so perfectly fitting. As you can tell, I'm not used to putting straps, leather straps on, or pin buckle straps on, I should say. Pardon my fur. And now, ta-da! That is super sharp. I really like that. Function is great. That dome crystal on there looks super good. Love the colors. I'm really digging it on this brown leather strap too. I think a black leather strap would not be right. Anything rubber would be horrible. NATO, possibly, but the brown leather's where it's at for me with this one. Well, thanks very much, Namoki. And for everybody else, enjoy the pictures. And as soon as these parts come out, I will update the video with links down below for everyone. Cheers, y'all. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love y'all.